Hi, welcome to Sewing with Emma, episode 4. So today we are focusing on the Giselle dress from Enchanted. I wanted to make a Giselle dress for a very long time because this was a movie that I grew up with and I loved seeing how beautiful Amy Adams looked and everything. But my favorite dress was the one that she wears when she's animated because I loved the way it spun around. And if you want your dress to spin around, I don't recommend this pattern because it only flows out at the bottom, but it still looks pretty good. So when I was starting research on this dress, I knew that I wanted to have the colors the same, but I didn't want the silhouette to be the same because I was afraid it would look too boxy if it was just like hanging straight down. But on an animated character, it can still hug her curves and it will still look good. This time I decided to go with an hourglass dress. So I used a pattern from Etsy, which I will link below. I was able to find something that gave darts so that it wouldn't just hang straight past the chest, and also something that would give my hips a little bit of shape, but still have a lot of fabric at the bottom. When I was looking for fabric, I knew I wanted something more upscale. I didn't want something that would look cheap because I wanted it to look animated, but also like it could step out of the movie if it had to. So the fabrics I chose were this coral chiffon. It's very similar to what I used for the Wendy dress, just a different color. And then I used this baby pink chiffon for the sleeves. And then I got this salmon satin. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It is satin, I just wasn't sure of the color. And that's what I used for the lining. So you'll never see it in the dress, but it is underneath and it helps with the shape, the body, and then the actual construction. So I do recommend a lining if you're going to do this dress. And then I got 2 different ribbons, which I ended up sewing together, but that's for later. So when I was starting with the pattern, I knew I wanted to alter it a lot. I didn't just want to keep it as it was because it was sort of a half up, half down, very pretty dress, but I wanted it to be floor length and I wanted it to be a little longer and a little fuller than I had initially planned. So I added about 6 inches to the side of each pattern that went down from my knees all the way to the bottom. What you can't do is you can't add 6 inches at the top, add 6 inches at the bottom, and then just kind of cut a rectangle out. That won't work. You have to sort of follow from the top all the way down out, or else it will look a bit funky. So when you're adding to pattern pieces, make sure to do that. And then it turned out when I had put together the mock-up, which is basically just the making of the outfit before you actually make the outfit just out of cheap fabric that you already have, it didn't fit my hips at all. So I had to add another 6 inches of fabric from my hips all the way down to my knees, and I just inserted it into the satin because I had already worked on cutting that out. And then for the chiffon on top, I just added an extra 6 inches so you can't even see that there was a fit issue. When I started sewing the actual dress, I just sewed together the darts. Darts are just tiny little triangles that you use so that it lays flat across your chest. No matter what size or shape chest you have going on, if things aren't going to lay flat on you, unless you have some sort of bend in the fabric. And there's lots of methods to do that, but this particular pattern had darts and it's the most common one. It's one of the easiest, I recommend. Then after that, I started sewing the sides together, and then there is an insert in the back, and I sewed the insert into it, and basically you're just going up one side and then down the other side and making sure that the top is stitched. Then when I was done with that, I tried it on and it fit. And so I made the same thing with a chiffon overlay. And then in order to put both together, don't put the zipper in before because you'll only have zipper on one. Instead of both, which is a mistake I made when I first started sewing, you can either do one of 2 ways. You can either put the fabrics right way together, sew the top, flip them inside out, and then you'll have a lining. That's what I did. You can also just pin the top 2 together and then sew around it. I think that's much more difficult, and it's kind of a roundabout way of doing it, but you can also control how much is going on when. And then you don't have to worry about flipping it or any of that stuff. So when I was done with that, I had the base dress and I was like, this is very pretty, but I knew I wanted to add a lot of details to it. So when it came to the sleeves, I cut out a 9-inch rectangle. Then I pleated the rectangle in. So by how long I wanted the sleeves, I measured from here to here. And then I measured from here a little bit out with my ruler and back around here so that I knew exactly how long I wanted the sleeves. When it came to the pleats, I just added an extra inch for each pleat that I wanted. I wanted 3 pleats, so I added 3 inches. And then I just pleated together. You can either use the fork method, which is just when you take a fork, you fold it over and you pleat it as you're going in your sewing machine. This makes for very even pleats. That method scares me because I'm always afraid I'm gonna pinch my fingers in the sewing machine. So I just tend to fold it over like this, pin it, and run it under the sewing machine. So I did that to the front and the back. That's why it hangs like this. And when I was done with that, I just tried it on, pinned it where I wanted it to. Again, I don't necessarily recommend pinning it where you want it to be when it's on your body because you can stab yourself. But if you have a mannequin that fits you, then I highly recommend using that. I do not, so I had to pin it on when it was on my body. You can also use your sisters if you are willing to bribe them or they are willing to help you. So I was able to do that in the front and then the back, and then I sewed it on from where it was. I just added a little stitch across the top, and when it falls over, you can't even see the stitch, but I just followed the lining so that it looks like it matched. And then when it came to the ribbon, I knew I wanted some sort of detail on the ribbon. I didn't just want it to be a plain pink ribbon like in the movie. So I just got a satin ribbon, and then I found this one ribbon in the store, and it was this, I don't know if you can see, it's this bright red ribbon. And I was like, oh my gosh, acorns and leaves is so cute. That's perfect for Giselle. But it's bright red, and I don't want there to be bright red on the costume. And then I flipped it over, and it was this beautiful salmon pink color. And I was like, oh, I'll just use the reverse. So I just sewed along the two outside parts of the ribbon. I didn't touch the leaves or the acorns because that would have taken forever. But if you want everything to lay flat, you can. I kind of like that it has a little dimension. You can tell that there's texture to it. But if you want to, you can go and individually do each leaf. Then when I was done with that, I tied it together. It gave me a lot more shape. Smaller chested girls, I highly recommend wearing a push-up bra for this because that's what I have to do. And then on the back, I wanted to add a few flowers. So I had gotten this trim that had 3D velvet flowers on it, and I just cut it up into all individual pieces and hand sewed the flowers from the very top of the dress all the way down the dress, and I think it really adds to it. I just realized I forgot to put the zipper in before you put the flowers on, because if you do it in reverse, you get the flowers caught in the zipper and that will make it much more difficult. Like I said before, there are many videos on how to put a zipper in. My favorite method is to flip it around. Sew one side, flip it the correct way, and then to pin the fabric onto the zipper, just folding under about a ½ inch, because then you can control where the zipper is and how it won't end up uneven in any way. That's what I like. It's not a traditional method of sewing, but that's what I recommend. So that's all it took to make this dress. It wasn't that hard, and I was able to take a lot of liberties because it's animated, and I tend not to make a ton of animated outfits, but now I feel like I want to because you're able to do so many different things. If you want to hem a dress like this, I would recommend hemming the satin because it will fray. The chiffon will be more helpful if you have a serger because hemming chiffon is very difficult, but I did end up hemming the chiffon. It just took a little bit longer, but since it's not a super full dress as it is, it doesn't take as long as something like a ball gown would take. So yeah, that's all for this dress. Thank you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much.